KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292FQ Riverside, and K293CF Moreno Valley.
The following program on KCAA is pre-recorded.
Welcome everyone, this is Marie Waite and we are here at our Zoom talk, and I'm really excited about this talk because I am bringing you to Sean Stone, who is an actor, and I want to learn more about him, so this is actually perfect. So Sean, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Marie. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so Sean, it looks like you are in some very peaceful location. Where are you now?
Yeah, we're outside of Ojai, in California, Southern California, but just not wanting to be in LA. Right now with the lockdown taking place, it's sort of stifling, I find. At least out here we have trails and parks are open, and we can be in nature and not have to feel like we're quarantined.
Okay, it's beautiful out there though.
Yeah.
That is really nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, you and I met at the Golden Gala in Los Angeles, and that was really that was more of an accident because you were behind me and I started talking to you.
Indeed. Yeah. It was a fun night. It was on Oscar night. Demi Moore was talking, and I loved her speech. Actually, I was really impressed. I didn't realize that she was sort of spiritually attuned that way, such a degree. She was very present, and she was really drawing upon this principle that is sort of common parlance in the spiritual community, but
Okay.
people have to come to understand it more and more in all walks of life, which is what showing up for the moment, being present to the moment, to the experience, and not just being fixated as we have been through our history as in material culture, being fixated on the end result and the product, right? And so she had this great talk where she was like, it's not just about, yeah, great, I made this movie, I achieved that. She's like, what about the process? What about just showing up and being in the moment and the experience, the emotions that are involved with, with everything that goes into this moment and moment of our experience and our existence, not just in the end product, which we're looking to achieve, and then basically what we can hold up as an achievement, but those achievements don't make a life. It's everything in between. So I liked her talk, and it resonated with a lot of the things that I've come to realize in my own consciousness more and more over the years.
Yeah, I also enjoyed it. She was really very elegant and she spoke well at that event. But at the same time, you also informed me that you are an actor, and I wanted to learn more about that. How did it start for you, and how long have you been in the acting industry?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I never really considered myself an actor per se. It's more like, I have acted as an opportunity of self-expression. I think that in life, I feel more and more that, we as humans find different ways of expressing ourselves. If we have the opportunity, it might, come in a film or a TV show or, on a stage. In my case, I was, a kid playing in movies like JFK and The Doors, Natural Born Killers, and then later, I guess later in my 20s, I was in my film called Greystone Park, which was based on my experiences in haunted mental hospitals, and I also played in the film Savages in a small scene, and then I did a couple of the films that I was playing more prominent roles in. The last one that came out is called The Fury of the Fist and the Golden,
Yes.
which is a martial arts comedy with a great cast, and it was a lot of fun to shoot that.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it, and it looks so much fun, just watching some of it, short clips of it. So what was that? What was the entire experience for that? I know it was fun, but did you learn a lot from it, or what was a favorite part of that movie?
Sure. I mean, it was it was fun to play an 80s action hero, right? That was my role, and it's a total 80s send-up movie, right? Where we had a great cast of guys like Michael Dudikoff and Denny Trejo and Don the Dragon Wilson, and every day it was like a different iconic actor showing up on set, Timok from The Last Dragon. So really great crew and cast to work with. And for me, it was just so much fun because the film was completely ridiculous and over the top, but I got to deliver these one-liners and do my own stunts. So I really enjoyed that experience as a whole. And then we've released it now, and I wish more people knew about it because I know there's a huge audience of martial guys who like martial arts. They like the
Yeah.
80s. They like that kind of absurd comedy, kind of like Napoleon Dynamite or Kung Fu Hustle, right? Like movies like that. That's the style of this movie, The Fury of the Fist. So overall, it's capturing. And he said every time you go through a project and you work on a film, it's a moment in time of a lot of energy, and like you get very close and you're working intensively for months, and then all of a sudden it just disbands and it just lives on as a 2-hour experience that people can watch on their phone or their computer. I mean, it's sort of interesting how we condense so much energy, like almost like an atomic bomb or something. You put so much energy into something. Actually the reverse of atomic bomb. You're pulling it back inside, taking all the energy and putting it back, and then it ends up as just a little atom, a little movie that you can hold in your hand at the end of the day.
So do you see yourself more on those kind of characters in the movies?
How do you mean? I don't understand.
More of those comedy, fun characters.
Um, you know, to me, it's when acting, it's more like what are the characters that interest me as a person. I guess that's what it boils down to. So I don't really act, like as a profession. I don't see myself as an actor, but I think that I take the roles that come my way that feel like they're resonant with my interests. And
I see.
it's difficult to say anything in specific because I've done, I've played in, I've never done really a rom-com, but I've definitely played in some dramatic roles in films, and I enjoyed those as well. Um, yeah, I don't think that it's again, it's not about putting yourself into one box. It's just about
Okay.
expressing
Just
yourself.
whatever is presented to you.
No, not whatever is presented, but just saying that expressing the self through different mediums, right? Different means
I see.
of expressing the self, as long as it feels resonant with my soul.
I see. So how many years have you been in the acting industry? I mean, I'm
Well, it's
thinking
not,
it's probably.
again, I mean, I don't consider myself in the industry, but I guess I started when I was like, I was in a film when I was 2 years old.
Oh,
So,
okay. Wow.
you know,
Okay. So it's really
I've been
pretty
around the business
much.
a long time.
Okay. I see. Now, do you have any goals being in that industry? I mean, I know that it's not so much of what it's like you're doing other things too, as far as I can see. Is that your focus, or there are other things that you would like to do?
I work towards the things that I enjoy in life.
Okay.
So, whether it's doing morning meditations, which I offer like on Patreon, just giving people a little guided meditation opportunity, because I have a spiritual practice that I work on every day, and I think it's important to offer that to others that are interested in it.
Okay.
Whether it's doing things like this or hosting, I've hosted shows over the years. Buzzsaw was a show that went on YouTube and then to Gaia. Watching the Hawks, which was on RT internationally for 5 years. And so, I mean, I've hosted and done a lot of, presentational work like this.
Okay.
But, my passion is more in again, it's self-expression, I guess, in the form of writing, producing, directing, storytelling. This is definitely where a lot of my energy goes. Writing scripts, I just put out a book, an Audible book called Desiderata by
Oh,
Ali. It's on Audible
wow.
on Amazon, and you can get it there, or just you can. I'm sure you find it through other venues, but it's a Audible narration of a cosmic fairy tale, and it's basically a love story about two people that are beings. Let's say that they're in a different realm. At the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of the story, they're in a sort of an Eden kind of realm, right, a heavenly realm, and then they fall into the Earth realm and they lose each other. So for many lifetimes, they journey to rediscover love in the different forms of that love takes, and this odyssey of what it is to be human. So it's a
Wow.
very powerful story. It's a bit like I would say almost like The Alchemist or The Prophet, that kind of story that is it touches the soul, and it speaks really more to the soul than it does traditional than anything else. It's not like a traditional book in that way. But that was a lot of fun to write and to release this year. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, my goals, I guess, are just, I set my goals very much project to project. And, you know, it's like whether it's writing a script, and then the script, you know, when I complete it, working on getting it made, and that process can take many years. And then in the meantime, you know, I put my energy into the next creative venture, whether it's, you know, hosting another podcast or acting in a film or, you know, I don't know, just
Okay.
writing a book.
Well, I did mention to you that my family were experts in karate, right? Remember that?
Yeah, that's why I mentioned
Okay.
the fist.
Yes. So, uh, really interesting because I just had a meeting with a couple of people where one is really, really interested in my family legacy, and he is willing to invest on me putting together a movie about my family in karate. So now we're talking, you were talking about writing, and
Mm-hmm.
I do have a storyboard, but I don't have a script writer that would really truly put that all together for me. So it's interesting that you're talking to me about this and you did a karate movie. It was like
Well, I wouldn't call the fear of the fist a karate movie. It really is. I don't know. There might be some karate moves in it, but for the most part, it's like it's a complete, you know, comedy as far as, you know, the nature of the action. I mean, we do things like I do a cartwheel kick on somebody, right, where you do like you know, a
there's some
cartwheel,
martial arts in
and
it.
you know,
Okay.
putting people through tables and stuff like that. It was very over the top, not traditional classic
Yes.
karate in any sense. But I've always appreciated the art form. I think that it's important to be in touch with our physical body, right? In life, I certainly, you know, try to work out every day, and I think the practice and the discipline of the martial arts has always been very impressive to me, even though I never got into any one discipline in one form.
Hmm.
Um, I just think that that practice, that ability to be aware of your body and in tune with it, it also translates into your spiritual life. It translates into your mind. You know, how you uh, can sort of, how do you say, how thorough and how precise your mind becomes, how focused you can become. These are all expressions of our body mind soul connection, right? This
Okay.
is an ancient concept that's so important, and sometimes people lose it nowadays because we're in a very mental world. They say it's very left brain, right? The idea of how our brain is working and how we think and how we structure things. It's more logical, and the nature of like the martial arts disciplines and the a lot of the physical arts is to get us out of that left brain and more into the right brain, the intuition, the ability to be in tune with, you know, with our I think I would say our soul, you know, at a deeper level than just you know, the physical form. It's like there's an energy that runs through us that we are, and how can we channel that and harness that, as they say in the East, like the chi, right? To bring that chi into our being, and that's the power that can break bricks, right, and cut through
Yeah.
boards and things like this. It's connected to that chi, which is much more true to who we really are than this slab of flesh.
Okay. I see. And I can totally relate to that because my dad taught me karate too.
Mm.
We were, I remember the time where I was in front of all this military, um, the military men, and I was performing in front of them. And it was really an incredible experience for me because, you know, to know that I was the only woman there and I was in front of all of them performing karate, it was very, um, how do you call that? You make yourself feel valuable and confident.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it's impressive. I mean, it's certainly um, you can't have stage fright in that moment, right? That's a
Yes.
true performance. That's pretty cool. So are you a black belt?
No, my dad never gave me a belt.
Okay.
No, but he taught me the techniques. He gave me some of the secrets of karate. I do have the entire book of my grandfather because he was the founder of karate in the Philippines. So I have the entire book from the first kata all the way down to the last part of, you know, the karate. So so part of what I'm trying to do is to create this movie, which is now I have someone who's really eager on investing on it. And then he also knows that I have a book that I want to republish. It was my grandfather's book, and I want to republish it along with the movie. I think that would be awesome
That's
to
cool.
fulfill. Yeah.
And speaking of the Philippines, do you know the martial art called Kali Eskrima, like the stick fighting?
No, I'm not aware of it.
Yeah, it's from, well, the origins are obscure. I mean, I'm sure it comes from many places, but the lineage through the Philippines called Kali Eskrima
Okay.
is pretty cool. I like that style.
Yeah, my dad was Shorin Ryu is the name of the karate, and my dad actually was known more on the judo side of it.
Hmm.
My mom was also the first female black belter in the Philippines, so that's how they all
Wow,
met. And then
that's
my uncle and my father became very famous because they made a lot of karate movies
yeah,
in the 70s. So that's how it became very well known in the Philippines.
yeah, exactly. Well,
So
that's
it's pretty cool.
those films were the inspiration for the Fury of the Fist. You know, the martial arts comedy
Yeah.
that we made. It was very much inspired from those 70s and 80s. Sort of low budget action movies, but they were
Yes.
done with a lot of heart and but they're also very funny oftentimes because you can see that they don't have a big production value. And so I think we wanted to pay homage to all those that style of filmmaking.
Yeah, it is pretty cool because my uncle was the only one who was climbing the wall and doing his sidekick and then fighting about 100 men, and he was the only standing
Yeah, exactly. It's
at the
completely
entire.
ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous, but it's just wonderful. It's so wonderful to see it.
Anyway, well, I am. Uh, what I would like to ask you, Sean, is with your meditation techniques and anything that uh, you're honed into, how I mean, what can you share to people that are having all kinds of struggles right now because of the situation?
Of course, of course. There's, the way I've phrased it before, it's a little difficult sometimes when we're engaged in the moment of losing our jobs or our livelihoods or seeing stock markets plummet and seeing our assets lose value. But what I say is that at the end of the day, the system as it was a slavery system. It had us all enslaved, debt slaves, really, because it was a pyramid of power where the money goes more and more to the top, right? Overall, for years, we saw this fewer and fewer corporations having more and more wealth, right? The
Okay.
smaller businesses, the middle class was shrinking. The mom and pop businesses, they are competing for less and less, and the major corporations were making more and more profit. And everyone basically in this world was just living as a small, they say the 1% or whatever, that small percentage that has more and more wealth. And by the way, they've made a fortune. I've heard the billionaires have made more money in this last few months than they did since 1980 because of the profit from this collapsing stock market and all that. So the idea of the overall system is very, we were all living basically as slaves, saying thank you to the corporations, thank you to the top for every little dollar, every little thing that that came down to us, trickled down from the top to the bottom. And that was a form of slavery because not just in the same sense of debt, but in the mental landscape, that we were all beholden to a system of economy. And I think this moment, as the whole thing has stopped in a sense, the global economy has stopped. I mean, not to say that it's completely, obviously people are still transacting, but that modality, I think people are realizing they have to shift out of that modality. They have to shift into a new way of seeing the world, human to human, not corporation to human or
Mm-hmm.
corporation to corporation, human to human transactions, human to human economics. The idea of just coming back to our basic wants and needs, getting away from a lot of things that were put into our brains by marketers, by people selling us goods and things that we didn't even need or really want. But we were told, to have this and have that. A lot of illusion that ultimately a few people benefited from, and most people have lived as the discontents of. So I say, take this opportunity to really reset, to come back to earth in a sense, put your feet in the earth, connect to nature, remember what really matters in life, which is life itself is what matters, right? Life is what we are here to experience and to be and to cherish and to love and to live. It's oxygen, it's trees, it's it's water, it's basic things. It's not all this illusion, that fantasy that they sold us for a long time. They really didn't matter. So let's come back to it, to ourselves, to the earth. Let's connect as humans. Let's transact as humans. Let's build new economies that is not just dominated by corporations, but as people wanting to support each other, who wanting to transact with each other, exchange with each other. I really think that there's an opportunity coming. There's going to be new economies growing out of this, because that old system has come to a stop, and I don't think it's going to go back to normal as people thought of normal, because normal was insane. It was a crazy world before, very sick in many ways. So I don't think we want to go back to that sickness. But it's like you just got discharged from the mental hospital, and you grew up in a mental hospital, so you don't know what normalcy looks like. But you've been in a mental hospital your whole life. But then you come outside, you're like, wow, this seems strange. This is just normal. It's like Plato talked about in the cave. You walk out of the cave. You've been in the cave your whole life with puppets and people playing puppets telling you this is real, and shadows on walls telling you that's real. Then you walk out of the cave and you're in this world with nature and beauty and glory, and you're like, whoa, this is strange to me. This is not normal. Actually, it's more normal than it was before. Before was not normal. Before, the normal was insane.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. It reminded me of my time in the Philippines when I went to visit my relatives in the province, because the province has less technology or items that are, modern. So I remember the feeling of just being in a place where everything is peaceful and there's no pressure on doing things. It's like even cooking, you use the fire and wood, and that was it.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of material things that you have to really focus on. And when they were talking about toilet paper and everything like that, I was like laughing in myself. It's like, why would they be so hang up on that when people are dying and that's the only thing they can think of? It was so weird. Right. But I understand what you're saying, and I truly appreciate being connected to you, Sean. If people want to learn more about what what you share in terms of meditation and all the things that that you love to help people with, where do they go to?
Sure. I mean, I keep my social media pretty active. So
Okay.
I'm on Twitter at Watching Sean. I'm on Facebook, The Real Sean Stone, or basically that's my Instagram. But my Facebook is my name, Sean Stone, on my fan page. I'm on a YouTube channel where I put out some content. And then for the more specific stuff, like I have the meditation videos people can purchase on Vimeo.
Okay.
They can find Sean Stone on Vimeo, and they can find my videos, or on Patreon, patreon.com. I'm on Patreon, where I have monthly subscriptions. You can subscribe and get the meditations, and that includes talks. Basically I do some talk and just give reflections on things that I think are important, and then have a little meditation session. So again, it's meant to get people out of the old modality, the old paradigm that we were living in, and then start to reflect and think differently. That's the way I've always thought differently. I've always seen things a little bit differently. I have an education in history, so I understand cycles, and what we're coming to is now the end of a certain cycle of extreme materialism. Okay. And I think there's an opportunity now for us to really awaken to our spiritual self, because that's the only thing that's going to live beyond this moment is our spiritual self, our souls.
Yeah, exactly. So is there going to be a future TV show for you?
I leave it to the future. Right now, I'm just, in my journey, and, I keep myself open to what the future offers.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for taking this time. And I really enjoyed our conversation, and hopefully we can connect again, or maybe schedule another time for you to be on a call. And again, thank you so much. And we'll try and schedule another time, okay?
Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistants with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. FireUp Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations radio talk show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental property, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about, so join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio. Hi, this is Steve Matley. As a construction professional, I know the importance of selecting the right contractor for the job. Power Solar employs only professional installers. Power Solar will provide a knowledgeable consultant to help analyze your current electric bill, identify site placement, and correct solar technology for your home. Contact KCAA Producer at gmail.com for a free financial savings proposal with no obligation, or call 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Again, that's KCAA Producer at gmail.com or 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken.
Hello, everyone. This is Marie Wade. I am here with amazing David Fagan. Hi, David. How are you doing?
Good. How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I am so excited. First of all, I wanted to thank you for inviting me to that gala event in Los Angeles. That was such a great experience for me. And the fact that I did get to see Debbie Moore and some of the celebrities there, that was so cool. So is this your normal lifestyle? Is that what you do all the time?
No, oh geez, I wish. No. But once or twice a year, usually we're having some bigger events. You know, last year we did some things with Dylan McDermott. We helped raise money for human trafficking. You know, the first part of this year, you saw us do something with Ryan Long, who's actually passed away now. Crazy to think, but you did something with him and the gala, and Richard Dreyfuss and Mark Victor Hansen and Demi Moore came. And so, you know, probably once or twice a year, we'll do some kind of event like that to raise money for a good cause or to, you know, help people learn more about, you know, getting their message out there.
Wow, that was such a cool event. I really, really enjoyed it. It's such, you know, it was so funny because you and I were at the Jacksonville, Florida at the construction summit. That's how we and I started talking, which is funny because you and I are here in California and we ended up collaborating when we were in Florida.
So, yeah. We had to go across the country to bump into each other.
I know. That was so funny. But anyway, I have known you for years too, though. And I believe Dennis Nurmela was the one that introduced you to me. And
that sounds right.
Yeah, and for some reason we never got to connect because I was just here in the Riverside County and you're in Los Angeles. So we were just too busy. But I am so glad that we finally connected. You know, it's such a blessing. And I have been looking at all your the things that you do, and I'm actually very impressed. And I wanted to just, you know, give me some information of how it all started for you, because as you know, we are in a situation where everybody is staying at home. They've lost their jobs, and you know they're trying to find ways and learn some things that they can find opportunity to bring some money, you know, for their family or you know just to provide. So, and I know that you have been very successful. So, can you give us some of your story? And I'm gonna highlight you, and so everybody can really understand how you've done it and successfully. Okay.
Well, I'll skip past my birth and my early years, and I'll get more into the meat of it. But yeah, I've always done speaking. You know, I've always done a lot of sales and marketing jobs, even for big banks, for software companies. It wasn't until probably about 2008 that I started doing a really big contract for Infusionsoft that I think a lot of people know of. And I helped them when it came to speaking on stages and selling their software. Helped them go from about 7 million to 14 million dollars, and you know, there's a lot of people there that was a part of that success. But while I was there speaking on a lot of stages, Michael Gerber of eMyth and Joe Polish of Piranha Marketing and Dan Kennedy, and the list goes on and on. One of the people that I met was Jay Conrad Levinson. And Jay Conrad Levinson is the father of guerrilla marketing, you know, the founder and father of guerrilla marketing. He wrote the first guerrilla marketing book in 1984. And I got to learn from him and be, I guess, an apprentice, so to speak, of his. And I actually ended up becoming the CEO of guerrilla marketing. And that's what I did from about 2009 to 2010. I did went from a year contract of Inc. 500 and Infusionsoft to a year of working with Jay Levinson and getting to co-author a book with him. And I like to tell people that because I think a lot of people sort of frown upon, oh, you know, I can never work for anyone, or I can never, you know, I got to be my own person. But, you know, there's a lot to be learned from, you know, being a part of a good team and, you know, finding a great mentor and being willing to be that apprentice. And that's what I did with, you know, Jay Levinson. And from there, I went on and kind of started my own media company and marketing company. And a few years later, I bought a Beverly Hills PR company from Michael Levine. And then Michael Levine was another one of my great mentors. Michael Levine is a very famous Hollywood publicist. They've represented 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammys, 42 New York Times bestsellers. And I bought and took over that company. So a lot of times people will see my resume and they'll say, oh, you know, the former owner of LCO and represented all these people. Well, that company had already done some of that before I got there. Just like guerrilla marketing, between me and Jay Levinson, we've sold 23 million books in 62 languages around the world. Well, he'd already done some of that before I got there. But I had some great, you know, mentors, and that was kind of, you know, really when I went from real estate and sales and marketing to really full on Infusionsoft, guerrilla marketing, Beverly Hills PR company. And started writing my own books. And, you know, there was a good year there, maybe in 2014, 15, where every month I averaged at least one major TV appearance on Fox News, Today Show, Doctor Show. I even did the Today Show in Sydney, Australia. All kinds of news programs. What's Happening Now, The Five, Neil Cavuto. And I just bring that up because, you know, I practice what I preach. I don't tell people, hey, here's how to go out and get on the media. Here's how to get published, or here's how to do these things. You know, like, this is things that I really do. So I've had a company called Icon Builder Media for about the last 10 years. I also am affiliated with Speaker House Publishing, Gold Light University, Talent Support Services, and all of these organizations, they work with speakers, authors, and experts who make money off their advice. So if you get paid for your advice, if you get paid for your expertise, that's really where me and my teams come into play. You know, we get you published, make you a bestseller, get you featured in the media, book you to speak on stages, help you create courses. And that's kind of been my world for the last, you know, 10, 15 years. And I've learned from the best of the best. And I've done a lot of these things myself. And, you know, I had my own cable TV show in California, and I won the Entrepreneur Educator of the Year Award from Infusionsoft in 2016. I've been a guest lecturer at UCLA. And I don't say that really as a way of bragging. I just say that as a way to answer the question, why you? And Marie, I think everybody is asking that question, why you? They're either asking it subconsciously or consciously. Why should I read your book instead of someone else's book? Why should I go to your event instead of someone else's event? Why should I, you know, hire you instead of hiring somebody else? In that way, people have a limited amount of time, money, and resources, and we have to have a really good answer to that question, why us? And it's our accomplishments, it's our achievements, it's our ability to get results for other people that qualifies us to win over those opportunities. But yeah, that's kind of the brief background. Obviously there's, I could go on and on, but that's a pretty solid background.
Okay. Well, I've heard from what you just said is that it seems like you have to have good connections.
Yeah.
From established companies also in order for you to learn.
Yeah.
And I've also heard from what you said is that you have to have somebody mentor you to go through this process. So my question is, did you have any kind of challenges going through, in spite of you having a mentor?
Yeah.
Did you have any kind of challenges to where, you find yourself struggling from, working from someone else to being, you're having your own business?
Oh, sure. I mean, there's all kinds of struggles. I mean, some of the struggles I faced, people probably won't have to face as much themselves, but we all have struggles. When we had our Beverly Hills office, we had anywhere from 10 to 20 interns that were there for free just to get experience, just to get close to the celebrities that we work with, and just to get experience working for a Beverly Hills PR firm. Well, laws came out and changed kind of how the intern world worked. I've had times where we've done, massive sales, 6 figures, 7 figures, but then now we have all this work we need to do for people. So we have to stop marketing and selling, and now we're fulfilling. And so you have the growing pains of, you get really busy and then you run out of business. So you have to go get more business, and then you get a bunch of more business, and then you work on that business. But because you're working on that business, you stop marketing and selling. So all of a sudden you get these months that go high and low and high and low. So, learning how to scale, learning how to grow, learning how to deal with industries and marketplaces. We used to be in offices. Now we're virtual. Some people work well virtually. Some people don't.
Okay.
We do really well with content, but now, especially in light of things going on in the world, now everyone's creating content. 10 years ago, when I wrote my first book, there would be hundreds of books coming out every month. Now there's thousands of books coming out every month. There's like 5,000-6,000 books coming out every day. So what are you doing to separate yourself from everyone else? What are you doing to really earn people's business and eyeballs and time? It can be difficult. I think funding is always a challenge. Team building is always a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Making things scalable is always a challenge. Technology is always changing. That can be a challenge. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we have overcome and we continue to have to overcome.
Okay. So currently I know you have a lot of clients, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering, do you have any clients that were affected by the coronavirus situation, and how are they dealing with that right now?
Yeah. I think the upside is people have more time, or they feel like they have more time. Probably we always probably had as much time as we have right now, but it feels like we have more time. And so people are spending more time writing their books, creating courses, recording videos, creating content, which is really good. People are researching more, they're reading more, they're studying more, they're learning more, which is really good.
That's good.
On the flip side, though, everyone, I don't want to say everyone, but a lot of people are very reluctant to how do they want to spend money and how do they want to invest money. They're a little reluctant, like, let's see what happens here. Before I spend another 10 grand or 20 grand or 30 grand, or maybe even a couple $1,000s, they kind of want to wait and, well, let's just kind of wait and see what happens. So on one hand, there's a lot of people kicking tires and kicking up dust and doing things. But on the other hand, there's people who aren't really spending money, or not as much money, because they're kind of in waiting mode.
Okay. Do you think it's in spite of the situation that they still have to continue their investment on their business or on any kind of portfolio that they have, in spite of the uncertainty?
Yeah, you got to be smart for sure, and you got to be strategic for sure. But what we've learned through a lot of decades, and I'm probably older than what I look, here in my mid 40s.
You look good.
I'm in my mid 40s, and one of the things that we've learned over time is that it's really in the shifting that opportunity really creates itself. And I don't want to be lip service and be like, oh, how to recession proof your business. Like, we're not even really in a recession. But the bigger idea here is the money's still out there. It's just shifted and changed. And so it's up to us as business owners to go, well, what do we do right now? I'll give you some examples. So unfortunately, there are a lot of people out of work. But because there are a lot of people out of work, there are opportunity for business owners who need good people. We can go and find good people and get very creative and hire some very affordable talent. You know, because the economy had been so strong and the job market has been so strong, it can be hard to find good people who aren't demanding and expecting a lot. So that's just kind of an example of, you know, for all you business owners out there right now, there's a lot of great people that are kind of sitting at home going, hey, what do I do next? You know, I've always kind of wanted to work on my own or get into the gig economy. What do I do next? Now's a great time to kind of headhunt and talent scout and find good people to work with. Also,
So,
there's going to be, go ahead.
so if somebody is at home and you're saying that there's a lot of people looking for talented people, how do they how do they make themselves visible?
Yeah.
So they can be found.
The people who are talented and at home looking for work, or the people who are business owners looking for good talent?
People that are at home, how can they make themselves visible?
Yeah. It's two questions. Who do you know? And who do you know who knows who you want to know? Who do you know? And who do you know who knows who you want to know? So, you know, those are two basic questions that I start with anybody when they're just out scouting, when they're looking for opportunities. So, you know, what's the opportunity you're looking for? You know, who are the people? If you're looking for a certain kind of job, if you want to be in a certain kind of industry, you want to have a certain kind of business, you know, who do you know? And then, you know, maybe that list is only 10, 15 people, but then.
Or maybe just David Fagan.
Well, maybe, or Marie, right? So, you know, and who do you want to know? So it's kind of like, we call it the wedding principle, right? So, and I'm not the only one that calls it that, but it's called the wedding principle in the sense that if you were to have a wedding, who's everyone you'd invite to the wedding? Well, that list is who you know. And
Yes.
who they know is the second question. Who do you know who knows who you want to know? It's like, well, I don't really know anybody in New Jersey in the tax world or real estate world. But you know what? I know Teresa Martin in New York City, and she runs a RIA club. And, you know, I've never had the time because I've always been working the job. But I kind of want to get more into real estate. I should reach out to Teresa because Teresa, either A, she's in real estate, or B, she hosts her own monthly meetings. So it's like, it's that kind of networking 101, but it may not be as obvious to some people just starting out.
Yes, I think for some people, they struggle just picking up the phone or, you know, just calling somebody. And
no, that's so true. There's a massive fear of the phone. And quite honestly, I've gotten spoiled. I don't even like to use the phone as well. And a lot of my best clients, you know, there's a, there's an expression, good times create bad policy. And what that essentially means is when it comes easy, we get spoiled, right?
Yes.
We got very spoiled in the real estate market in the 2000s. Business owners, you know, over the last couple of years, we've gotten really spoiled too, right? In various ways. And nowadays we need to pick up the phone more. And it can make us anxious. It can make us, you know, oh, okay, we got to get on a call. How long am I going to be stuck on the call? Mm-hmm. There's kind of this fear of the unknown. There's fear of rejection. But you're absolutely right. And even interns, like young people, you know, we still will work with young people. It's amazing. We have to train them on how to use the phone. You know, they're not, I mean, they text and they Skype and they message and they Instagram and they Snapchat and no, just call them. Like, just pick up the phone and call them. Like, that's really foreign to a lot of young people.
Well, you know, I'm experiencing that with my son because my son is, you know, a busy kind of a person, but he tends to text, and I would always call him, and I will make sure that he will answer the phone and talk to me because they get used to just texting and they forget that, hey, I want to hear your voice and I want to be able to connect with you. And so it's the same thing with other people where, you know, I think just making a call and even just trying to share some ideas or thoughts that you have, because you will never know what kind of information you can get from someone just by talking to them on the phone.
Yeah. Well, and here's a great topic for us to discuss just a little bit. Mm-hmm. My best clients are the ones that have the money. And the older you are, the more likely you are to be more established and have money. And the people who can afford my services that are thousands and tens of thousands of dollars,
Okay.
they're typically from, maybe 40s, mid 40s, but more like 50s and 60s. And one of the things that I've learned about the decades and the generations is the older these people are, the more they want to sit face to face and talk to you or be on the phone and talk to you, and the less they want to email and text and use technology. So we got to go where the money is. So if you're not getting on the phone and even trying to get face to face from time to time, you're probably missing out on some pretty big opportunities. The younger you are, the more normal and average it is that it feels just to sit there and text a lot and message a lot. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But just know that generationally and age-wise, um, if you're trying to do everything through texting and you don't spend a lot of time on the phone or just having conversations, you're missing out on some opportunities, because the biggest, most successful people that I've ever worked with, Harry Dent, the economist, John Asseroff, some of these big clients
Yes.
that I've had, big time real estate, developers, media moguls, people, I've dealt with Fox News a lot, the producers. These people, they want to have a conversation. They want to see how you communicate, how you respond, and what's your ability to, carry on an intelligent conversation, because you're a reflection of them, or you might be if you're going to work together.
Wow, that's amazing. So, David, one more question.
Sure.
If someone is listening to us right now, and they wanted to really learn more from you, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you have a lot of programs that you can offer, and this person is, a little bit tight with funding and all of that, because you are an expensive coach.
Sure.
So, do you
Sure.
have any program for people like that?
Yeah. Well, one of the things they could do is they could go to iconfreegifts.com,
Okay.
iconfreegifts.com. That's a website where I give away some of my books, like ebooks, and I give away some really cool visual aids.
Okay.
And people can get on my email list and my contact list. And so as I share things about dates and trainings, I've got a lot of trainings that come up. As a matter of fact, next Tuesday, I'm doing a master class on writing,
Wow.
publishing books, creating courses. And so if you were in my database, you would have been notified about that. So you go to Icon Free Gifts,
Okay.
get some free gifts, get on my email list, and then learn more about that. You can also come to one of my joint venture events. I have these events where I bring together my clients and my partners, and I introduce people and I celebrate people. And that website's jvsalessummit.com. And the next live one is in July, and we're planning on the world being somewhat better for then. But we also do that online too. We do some joint venture video conferences where I'll get 50, 60, 70 people on. I'll just say, hey,
Wow.
Marie, this is Danella, and Danella, this is Allison Larson. Allison Larson runs the Speakers Coalition. And Allison, this is Roger Salam. He does cruises every year. And, I just start connecting people.
Yes.
So JV Sales Summit's a great place to see things. Icon Free Gifts, great place just to go get a few free gifts, get on my email list. DavidTFagan.com is my own personal website. I'm a big believer that you don't want to have too much on one site. It confuses people. So you really want to have multiple sites for multiple purposes. So I have company websites like speakerhousepublishing.com or talentsupportservices.com. I have my own personal site, davidtfagan.com, which is what I show the media. I have event sites like jvsalessummit.com. So depending on what the purpose is, I give out different sites. And that's one good online strategy that you might want to
Okay.
borrow.
Okay. So, as the last part of our talk, what
Yeah.
would be your best advice to people, especially with the situation right now? And what's your perspective of the whole situation too?
Yeah. Well, those are kind of different questions. As far as best advice goes, the best advice I've been given out for probably 15, 20 years that I noticed early on in my life that really helped me is you really got to surround yourself with great people, and there's an expression, I don't know if it's been overused or used the right amount, but people will say, hey, you are the average success of the 5 people you spend the most time with, so do you hang out with lifters or lean-in? You hang out with people that lean on you and suck the life out of you and you're constantly holding them up? Or do you hang out with people that lift you up and they're above where you are and they can get you to where you want to go? So, surrounding yourself with successful people, wealthy people. And I don't mean wealthy people like find some rich friends. I mean, find some people who have become affluent because of the good decision making they make, and and learn from that. And I kind of look at it like, one hand up, hey, pull me up, and one hand down, you're pulling somebody else up.
Yes.
And you learn from the people you're lifting up, and you learn from the people that are pulling you up. And you want to surround yourself with these key people, sidekicks and mentors and apprentices. And sometimes you're the apprentice, sometimes you're the mentor. But you got to go out and just find people that are moving and shaking and making things happen. And right now, especially where we're all kind of by ourselves a little bit, even more so, sometimes I'm just hopping on the phone with, friends and people I respect. Hey, what are you doing now? What are you doing now? Oh, did that work? No, that didn't work. Okay. Well, what did work? Oh, that worked. Oh, how did you do that? Oh, maybe I can do that too. And you're having those conversations, because right now it's like you do something good. It's like you high five yourself in your house, like, oh, good job, David. So you gotta kind of get out and even do what we're doing right now, Marie, and just communicate,
yes. That's
collaborate.
True. That's true. I've been, been very creative also for myself. And this call that I did with you is something that I have been thinking this is going to be good for a lot of people. So I think every day you come up with so many ideas that you can really enhance and just enjoy it too at the same time. I mean, right now I'm enjoying talking to you, David, and I'm so glad that we had this call. But again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
That's amazing. And what's your next plan? Because I know, we're dealing with coronavirus, but what is your goal for this year and what's your plan? Big plans.
Yeah, that's a good question. Things are shifting right now. But I would say probably the biggest thing is we have already created an online university called Gold Light University.
Okay.
And, it is some place that is holding a lot of courses, faculty, professors, and just really getting out, not just the knowledge to people like me and you, but even people in other countries, other languages. What the whole world is realizing right now is as they're shutting down schools, colleges of all kinds, there's a lot of ways that people can still learn. And people put off these other ways of learning because they're just a little bit different for most people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's forcing people to learn online, and people are realizing, hey, this works. And there is a massive online learning movement. And I think a lot of people think, oh, that's been around forever. Well, maybe, but it is going to blow up over the next year or two. And if you want to learn,
so too.
There's going to be a lot of opportunities for you. And if you want to teach, it's going to get very competitive. So you need to really hone your teaching skills and your course materials. What was once good will no longer be good because it's just going to get very competitive. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities, but you're going to have to really raise the bar both as a teacher and as a learner.
Yes. Well, that's such a good information for people. But anyway, I don't want to take more of your time, but I really, really appreciate this conversation. And I hope that people can get a lot out of this call. And if they need to reach you, I hope that they will, because, you definitely can give them a lot of programs and benefits that will help them in their life.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you so much, my friend. Okay.
Thanks.
And I will talk to you again.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Inland Empire, for listening to KCAA Radio.